And so, yeah, it's good to see everyone. It's nice to be here. A little bit ago, my daughter was kind of snuggling up with me, and she said, "Dad, can we watch Earth? Which is Blue Earth, your blue planet, I think is what it's called." And the narrator was telling the story of about how a big boat, like a boat that carried shipping containers, back in the 90s, it was in some rough seas, and it dropped a container full of rubber duckies into the ocean. And somehow the container opened up, and they started to see these rubber duckies, the journey that they went on. And some ended up in Alaska, some in Australia, some in, both poles. And they even tracked one that for 15 years had, just traveled the seas and ended up on the coast of Scotland. And it was showing these little rubber duckies, the bath toys that, little kids play with. It zoomed out and just showed a picture of the planet. And you really got this feeling of how everything is so deeply connected, that these little toys dropped in the ocean ended up on every continent, all around the world. And see, this is what we're doing when we're stepping into the space of meditation. Is we're connecting to the unity of everything, of all of life. As a human being, we have this, excuse me, we have this big brain on the top of our shoulders here. And it's always, helping us to individuate and to see that, that there's an individual here. But what it fails to mention is that this individual is made up of life, is one with all of life. And so through the practice of meditation, we're giving ourselves permission to dissolve the individuality, to let go of this sense of self, and give our consciousness permission to merge into the hugeness of what it is. The hugeness. This last weekend I had to travel to the big city with my daughter, my other daughter, my older daughter, and do like a college orientation type of thing. And as I was driving, for about 7 hours across the beautiful state of Colorado, I came to one of my favorite places in the world, the San Luis Valley. It's just this massive valley. And there was this place where we were, in Denver and, driving back toward Durango, and I just came over one mountain pass. And all at once, my head, it was like it had just exploded open. And I just felt the hugeness of the sky, the hugeness of the mountains. It felt as if all of life was in me, as me. And see, this is what we're getting in touch with in the space of meditation. We're letting go of the I, we're letting go of the boundaries, we're letting go of any sense of me-ness, and giving yourself permission to be huge, to be vast, to be empty. Just to let go into this, to be nourished by life. And the brain is always trying to do, the ego is always trying to do, to assert, to plan. And so many of us, we spend, hours and hours a day at work doing this very thing, planning, doing, making, building, creating. Nothing wrong with any of that. But so many of us forget in all the doing that there's also this presence of beingness. And so I'm going to invite you now just to close your eyes, to give yourself permission to be. And so let us start with being open. And so sometimes as we feel inward, we start to feel the edges of our human self, our human ego. We feel where the body is tight and tense. We feel where we are being closed. But in this moment, we're giving ourselves permission to be open. Am I open? Am I open in my belly? My heart? My pelvis? Am I open here? And of course, if not, I invite you just to relax. And so the more deeply you breathe and the more permission you give yourself just to relax. What you find is the body naturally opens as you relax. So can you relax the shoulders, the throat, and the jaw? Can you relax the muscles of the face? So many of us, we hold tension in the face, especially in the jaw and the forehead. We're giving ourselves permission to relax the thinker, the thinking. You can even imagine pulling attention away from the center of the forehead and just pulling it backwards toward the back of the skull. Just noticing the silence that's here. The silence that you are. Relaxing the entire frame, the arms, the hands, legs, the feet, spine, sacrum, upper back, mid back, lower back. And so many of us, because we have this tendency to identify so deeply with her thinking mind. For this hour, I'm going to invite you to wake up throughout the body. To imagine 10 million points of awareness. Waking up. Not just in the head, but from the bottom of the feet to the crown of the head. Noticing all these points of light. Waking up throughout the form. And then, of course, you'll notice that you wake up beyond the form. You notice that you don't actually end at the bottoms of your feet or the top of the head. The space in you and the space around you is one space. It's conscious, it's awake, it's aware. So as we're breathing in and breathing out, allowing the body, allowing the mind, the emotional nature, just to fall into a state of relaxation. Allowing yourself to be held. Nurtured. The quiet presence of this moment. So breathing in and breathing out. Noticing the silence is alive, radiant, luminous. And for some of you, you may notice this light waking up in the space of the mind. An inner brilliance. Very subtle. Explosion of light. Your job is simply to receive what's here. As we're joining together, begin to notice another realm of divinity being born into you, waking up within you. Very subtle. The space of the mind. You can almost feel like a liquid or flowing bliss. The Divine Mother is blessing us with her presence. Showing us something new. As you relax more and more deeply, you may feel this bliss just gently flowing down the throat, flowing down the spine, very lovely grace. That we are being blessed with. Your job is simply to open, to receive. Whatever is here for you today. If you give yourself permission just to get out of the way, let go of any agenda. Simply open and receive. Just breathing in and breathing out. Relaxing the jaw and the throat a little bit more deeply. For some of you, this flow of grace may feel like Amrita, divine nectar. Waking up in you as you. And for some of you who aren't feeling so blissful but feeling resistance, that's okay too, that's normal. When light and bliss come into contact with old karma, old pain, it's stored in the cells of the body, sometimes there's resistance, that's normal. Just breathe and relax, let go. Surrender, don't be discouraged. If you can relax a little bit more deeply in the solar plexus, the hara, of course, it's always helpful to let go of the one who wants to be in control. The Mother has come this evening to bless you, to fill you with light. You don't have to do anything but receive. Let go of the striving, the struggling. Just open. For some of you, you may be feeling a second wave of this light coming down through the crown. This one may feel much more intense to you. It has almost like a piercing brilliance. And all this is taking place and the hugeness of what you are. In this space of supreme silence and stillness, for some of you, when this brilliance comes, the body starts to tighten up a little bit because of the intensity. And so I invite you just to relax again, to trust, letting go into God, into grace. You may even be experiencing this timeless, eternal presence. And smile and know that you don't have to resist. The hugeness of what you are. So we're surrendering more and more deeply and feeling this light. Waking up in the space of the pelvis, the thighs, the feet. Giving yourself permission to experience your non-dual self. Self without a name, without a form. It's vast, empty, free. Smiling at your eternal nature. Giving yourself permission to surrender deeply, fully to this depth of being, this depth of presence. So can you let go a little more deeply and fully? Sometimes this light, this brilliance, this spaciousness can be overwhelming and disorienting. So give yourself permission to let go and trust. There's nothing to hold on to here. Give yourself full permission to expand, be infinite. We spend too much of our life being finite. This moment, give yourself permission to let go fully. Be infinite, be timeless, eternal. Notice how big you are. What is it like to have no edges, no boundaries? No beginning or end. And of course, if there's any part of you struggling, just let it be held in this light, this grace, in this silence that you are. Surrender anything human into the divine. Mother, will you take me? Have your way with me. We give ourselves to you. Giving yourself permission to let go more and more deeply. This deep well of silence, this incredible peace and brilliance. feeling unified with all of life, waking up, realizing you are the very movement, very fabric, very texture of life itself. What is this presence that I am? This hugeness, this brilliance. Again, just gently relaxing the belly. Giving yourself permission to receive the hugeness of what you are. Feeling this third wave of light come over you. So beautiful, so stunning. Comes with the feeling of taking your breath away. Arupe Jyoti. Nani Perum Kardanai. Vast light of grace. And you be like a child in these last few minutes. Just receive. May even feel inner revolution taking place. Revolution of consciousness waking up to itself. Shining its light in every direction. Gently saying yes. Absolute yes. I invite you to join me in opening your heart to the world, to our brothers and sisters, the plant and animal kingdoms, the oceans and the skies. Just inviting this light to shine outward. May this grace be a blessing to all. So we humbly bow to the Lord above. We humbly bow to each other. May this most high light, this most high grace, shine through you all. Through you all. And with that, I invite you to gently open your eyes. To see, to feel, to acknowledge the beauty that's here. And so I must say I have great respect for all of you for showing up each week, for committing to this practice. There's 1,000,001 choices of things we can do. I have great respect for you, for sitting in this light with me. I know at times it can get quite intense. It can be overwhelming. It can be difficult. We're forced to face things within us that, most of us would be happy to avoid. Because this light, as this light wakes up in us, there's no stone, that is left unturned. Everything is seen. So this is great invitation to see, to open, to embrace, to let yourself be held in love. It's much easier to, watch TV or be busy or, drink or smoke or do whatever it is that people do. It takes great courage to be on the path. So many people I met with this last week have really struggled with great difficulty, and that's why I find it so helpful to have a daily practice. Just this basic teaching that the Buddha had, that this life is, life is suffering, life is dukkha. But there's a way out into a whole nother world, a whole nother realm. It's funny, at different times in the meditation, I felt 3 or 4 very distinct waves. I felt like a whole new reality was waking up, within us. So these are new possibilities, new potentials, new realms from where we can live. When we open these doors. Sometimes if we just sit and watch TV, we open to the realm of Netflix or the realm of YouTube. But there's far greater realms to open to. If you're courageous. There was this incredible book written many years ago. It was in this lineage that we're in of, there was Sri Aurobindo and then the mother, and there was this French fella named Sat Prem who studied with the mother. And he wrote this wonderful book called Adventures in Consciousness. And I really just love that title, is that's what we're doing here. We are opening, exploring the nature of consciousness and seeing, what's here beyond my silly ego, what's here beyond pain, what's here beyond what the Buddha called inherent dissatisfaction. He said life is unsatisfactory. Desire is unsatisfactory. There's something greater that's beyond satisfaction. It's just so enticing. Or you're waking up to this Amrita, the nectar of the gods in you, as you. And so, I thank you all for joining me. I'm going to miss you next week. I'm going to encourage you, though, to respect the time. I'm going to be driving across the desert, but I invite you to open to this grace. With my teacher, we would meet every Wednesday night, and if he had to travel, we would still continue to meet as a group, and this grace would come. We'd feel this blessing every Wednesday night. And so I invite you just to continue to open and receive. I look forward to seeing you again soon. So may peace be with you all, and have a wonderful night, and those in Australia, wonderful morning.